We got blown out in Game 3, the return for playoff basketball in Houston. The Kings very much spoiled our playoff debut at home, but we have got to head back to Sacktown in Game 5, all tied up. So we get another try in Houston, and Jalen Green responds to our previous loss by having the best game of his career. He came out blazing hot, scoring 16 points in the first quarter. 16! He topped off his night with a 22-point second half, and he had over 40 points, over 10 rebounds, and almost 10 assists. Absolutely insane game from Jalen, and it got us past the Kings to tie up the series 2-2 going back to Sacramento. And Jalen starts us off in Game 5 exactly how he left off, and he looks good. He flares out to the three-point line immediately on the fast break because he knows his teammates will find him. But he's not the only one that comes out looking good in the first quarter. DeJounte comes out uber aggressive off the dribble, and he quickly gets to 8 points in the quarter, same with Jalen. Those two just completely carried the offense and gave us a pretty decent lead to start out the first quarter. Christian Wood was a big beneficiary of DeJounte and Jalen being aggressive too. It forced a lot of switches on the smaller guys, and he posted them all up with ease. Our defense was also pretty good. That is until De'Aaron Fox decided that we aren't going to get away with starting a blowout in the first quarter. I mean, he just absolutely came out of nowhere and started hitting everything. Whether it was contested shots at the rim, pull-up threes, you name it. And Fox was drilling it. Lucky for us, Fox being good has absolutely nothing to do with the Kings' defense being any good. Because despite Fox's best efforts, they still couldn't take the lead from us. As a matter of fact, they took Fox out with like 3 minutes to go in the quarter, which was really strange considering how hot he was. But we'll take it, leading 8 after the first quarter. And despite us not doing as well in the second quarter, KPJ really helped us bridge the gap and keep the aggression going through the quarters. He definitely did his fair share of scoring, but it was really him being aggressive attacking the rim that kept the pace going for us and allowed us to keep up our lead. Even when the Kings attempted a sort of comeback about halfway through the quarter, it also helped a lot to have one of DeJounte or Jalen in at all times alongside him. I feel like during the season we had too many lineups where we only had one offensive option on the floor. Granted, most of the season we didn't have DeJounte, but having some combination of KPJ, Jalen, and DeJounte on the floor for most, if not all, minutes in the game is going to give us the best chance to keep our offense going. We do have plenty of post scoring too. Jovic, Şengün, Christian, Theis can post up some mismatches too. It definitely helps when we get switches, and even sometimes on bigger guys we can post up, but largely, pick and roll is going to be way more successful than posting up centers. It just never seems to work out for us like it does in real life. What does work is Jalen Green. And despite the Kings keeping up with us the entire quarter, Jalen comes in late and honestly just puts on a bit of a show for us. Terrence Davis was guarding him, and he just owned him every time down the floor. Even if he wasn't making shots, Davis was fouling him like his life depended on it. So he ended the quarter with 19 first half points and almost a 20-point lead for us. And I could talk about the second half, but you already know we're going to win. I'm just going to explain to you how realistic it is that we actually are in this series and have a pretty good shot of winning it. Adding DeJounte completely opened up our offense. He gave us another ball handler. He gave us our best defender on the team by far. He allowed us to become more flexible with our lineups. I mean, adding DeJounte was everything to us. He's completely clamped De'Aaron Fox for most of the series. He's had so many games with like 20 points and 8+ assists. He's just been phenomenal. He allowed us to push KPJ to the bench, and it strengthened what was probably one of the worst bench units in the league. I don't know if you remember, but Kennard was our best player off the bench at some point, and he was horrible. And then obviously Jovic and Mojave King are rookies. It's hard to depend on those guys to get good bench minutes. It does help a lot to have Jovic emerge more in these playoffs though. We could possibly have a decent bench next year simply by having internal improvement. I'm a bit concerned for Mojave King's growth and spot in the rotation with him missing a lot of the late season as well as all of the playoffs so far too, because I imagine we'll improve the team more in the offseason too. So he may get pushed to the bottom of the rotation, given he wasn't great and he's missed so much time. We'll just have to see what happens with him, because the defense is really good, especially for a rookie, but the offense is not great at all. But we win this game, the pivotal Game 5, and that's despite the Kings coming within 10 late in the fourth, and it was behind our best 3 players. Jalen had a very good game despite missing a lot of shots in the fourth, which is where the poor efficiency came from, really. And DeJounte was just really good all around, getting Christian involved a lot in the process. So we're going back to Houston, up 3-2 on the Kings, and man, we have a shot to take this thing to the next round. Who would have thought we'd be in this position, being 8 games under 500 to start the season? But we're here. We were shaky at the trade deadline, and DeJounte has been all the difference for us. What a great time to be a Houston fan.